In our first story tonight, the Tema Oil Refinery tour has downplayed fears of any negative impact of the gas explosion at its facility on the supply of petroleum products on the market. There was an explosion yesterday at the refinery which affected a furnace at the crude distillation unit, forcing management to shut down the unit. The facility helps in refining crude into other forms of petroleum products. Looking at the market share of tour, some industry watchers are worried about the possible shortage on the market. So what is the current situation at the facility? Watch this.
At about 10:36 or thereabouts, there was an explosion in one of the furnaces that we have there. It was so, as a result of the explosion, there was some fire which was contained very quickly. And that particular equipment, isolated from the rest of the equipment that we have at the refinery. And as we speak now, there's been a complete isolation. We've been able to flush out the crude oil in the pipes and return the crude oil to the crude oil tank. In effect, what it means is that instead of operating 45,000 barrels per day, we will be operating at 28,000 because we will use the older furnace.
But this wouldn't have any impact on supply of petroleum product onto the market?
Not immediately, because we do have some stocks in storage. But we are working as quickly as possible to bring everything back to normalcy, and that is all I'll say for now.
The economists will say all other things being equal. Are you hopeful that maybe by next week things should be up?
Well, I cannot give you a time frame until the engineers have finished their work. I mean, they'll be inspecting the stuff, and we'll be receiving 2 engineers from the Italian manufacturers of that equipment.
And that was Isaac Osei, former MP of the Subin constituency. Meanwhile, some energy experts are skeptical about the possibility of government reducing taxes on petroleum products. They argue that because government needs to raise a lot of revenue to address the over 5 billion cedi energy sector debt, it might not be prudent to go ahead with this. Here's a report put together by Kuku Aban.
The energy sector debt, what they call the legacy debt, is a big problem. It is. Just talk to the VRs, talk to the ECGs, talk to everybody who is actually deeply connected with what is going on. It's not funny. It's not an easy issue. It has to be dealt with. But I don't know how it's going to be dealt with because the money is huge.
How much are we talking about?
VRA alone, its indebtedness, all its debt portfolio put together is about between 1.3, 1.4 billion US dollars. ECG, and now, I mean, VRA is, even Ghana Gas that came in not too long ago, VRA is owing them about $350 million, not cedis, $1 million. How are they going to get those monies to pay? It ceases to be a VRA problem. It ceases to be an ECG problem. It ceases to be a Ghana Gas problem. It's become a Ghana problem. It is now a Ghana problem. That debt, if we don't deal with that, it has to be ring-fenced and taken out of the equation so that the sector will be allowed to function. Otherwise, now VRA can't borrow. VRA still relies a lot on government. If you look at the 2015 VRA annual report, which is on their website, go look at the interest that VRA paid on short-term loans. The short-term loans, the interest they paid was over 500 million cedis in 2015 on just the short-term loans. And what did they use the money for? They use the money to buy crude in most cases. So the indebtedness will have to be tackled. I'm telling you, it has implication on everything.
In other news tonight, government has managed to secure a favorable interest rate on the cost of issuing its 5-year bond. It will be paying an interest of 18.75%, far lower than the rate it got in 2016. George Rafi has more on the impact of this on the economy and the cost of credit.
The 18.75% that government had decided to pay investors is far lower than the 24.75% that they paid in July 2016. A careful look at the current 5-year bond that is being traded on the Ghana Stock Exchange shows that the state is paying between 19 and 24%. Therefore, one can describe this as a good one for the economy and the cost of credit. However, some may have argued that looking at events that have taken place in the economy, there is reduction in non-performing loans and the treasury bill rates over the past 6 months, the 18.75% was expected. But could this rate be a sign of the new administration's plan in place to restructure the country's debts and the cost of interest on these bonds? Government yesterday managed to raise their 420 million Ghana cedis in a 5-year bond that was actually targeting 600 million Ghana cedis. It, however, accepted 369 million Ghana cedis.
Let's turn to the banking sector, because many challenges in that sector would be avoidable in the future due to the newly amended Banking Act. That's the view of former principal of the National Banking College, lawyer Philip Boabing. He was sharing his thoughts in an interview with Joy Business at a seminar organized by the Osei Tutu II Center for Executive Education and Research.
The new act, now known as the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act, was approved by Parliament in 2016 and currently replaces the preceding Bank Acts 2004 and 2007. In an interview with Joy Business at the sidelines of the seminar, legal and regulatory consultant Philip Kwesi Boabing said some new clauses in the Act could help avoid issues such as recent developments in the microfinance sector.
There's also this risk-based supervisory framework where the Bank of Ghana is empowered to be able to look at the overall activities of the bank or special deposit-taking institution and impose stricter measures to forestall any imminent challenges or problems. We all know the challenges that we faced with the DKMs and others. And therefore, the act coming in at this time and also taking care of the deposit-taking institutions and the banks, deposit-taking microfinance institutions, all coming under the umbrella of one act. It's a good thing for the industry.
The 2-day seminar sought to enlighten stakeholders in the banking sector on the new law and highlighted some gaps that it sought to bridge. Some participants at the event also spoke to Joy Business.
What is happening is the financial systems of the world are evolving. Think of the digital craze. Think of the role of technology and how it is transforming banking today. And so we need to also catch up with the pace of development to ensure.
Where I'm coming from is it says that once they have the assurance, you'll be able to get deposit from the public, because the institution will be running on deposit. And so once the depositor is assured of his funds with the institution, definitely he will bring the deposit, and then the bank will work with that.
Issues that were discussed also included the new Ghana Deposit and Insurance Act 2016.
Now, 185 workers of the Ghana Textile Printing Company Limited, GTP, one of Ghana's leading textile companies, were laid off just after Christmas and the New Year festivities. This is mainly as a result of some technological changes which have seen the introduction of labor-saving machines. In the same vein, several other firms are recording some level of unemployment, also because of the wind of technological transformation blowing across the manufacturing sector. Sheila Tamaklo explores technical unemployment and the way forward for manufacturing firms.
Globally, technological advancement is taking a toll on the level of employment and impacting national development. Technical unemployment, as could be referred, occurs when technological changes cause some workers to lose their jobs. These are existent in various disciplines: agriculture, construction, transport, as well as the services sector. Similarly, advances in computers and robots means firms that hitherto were utilizing manual assistance can now produce with fewer hands. The situation is no different in the textile industry. Right here in Ghana, many workers have lost their jobs, while several others have their fate hanging in the balance in one of Ghana's largest manufacturing companies, Ghana Textile Printing Company, GTP.
We keep improving upon our technology. You know, technology is changing the world, and in order to be abreast with time, modern times, we keep investing in new technology, which we have done. But the redundancy wasn't as a result of the new technology we are bringing in alone. As I said earlier, we had to look at our entire operating systems to look at where we can remove a few steps here and there, which we've done. And that's good for us because it has helped us to really remove all non-value added steps in the processes. So yes, we've done that. We've also added new technology, which is helping us to be more efficient, more cost-effective than in the past.
With demand levels rising, some manual tasks such as heavy lifting, precision positioning, and visual quality control will no more be relevant eventually, as mass production can only be sustained with the use of technology. CEO of Casapreco Company Limited explains further.
When we started the business, there was a lot of manual labor. People were using their hands to fix the labels on the bottles. We were using our hands to cap the bottles. But now, everything is automated. So technology plays a huge role in terms of making sure that you have quality products at a standardized packaging, especially if you are doing exports. Other than that, we also run a whole factory on an SAP enterprise resource platform. So I can sit in my house and know what is being produced, what is being sold.
Head of Marketing at GTP, Stephen Bedu, says adopting modern technology is a prerequisite to staying competitive as a producer.
Technology is changing the world, and if you really want to remain relevant, you can't keep using old technology and expect to be efficient, expect to be relevant to the consumers. And so, yes, you know, this factory, we are over 50 years old. When we started, the technology we're using, we cannot keep using that same technology and to be effective in today's world. So we have to, we don't have a choice, and indeed all industries over the world moving from analog to digital. So yes, we have to make those changes in order to remain relevant, because it's less, it's not as productive as the modern technology. So yes, comparatively, the old technology is more expensive, and it's the reason why gradually we keep shifting to the modern technology.
So could this trend lead to a jobless future for manufacturing? Not quite, or at least not immediately.
I believe that it is how quickly you are able to adapt to the environment, the new environment. For sure, some of the jobs will be obsolete, okay? Artificial intelligence will take out some of the repetitive things we do, and computers will take over some of the things human beings do in warehouses, in factory floors, and so on and so forth. So we need to retrain, realign, so that human beings do what human beings do best, that computers cannot match us in doing.
More so, robots and machines may be imperfect, and their capabilities may not eliminate completely the work of humans, especially in a creative environment. Bismarck Edu Asari is the creativity manager at GTP.
For design, for the aspect of design, although there's technology, every individual has a touch. Indeed, as I sit here, when I see a work, I can even ascribe it to a particular designer I have here. So for the design industry, maybe turning out volumes may not require so many number of persons as might have been the requisite numbers that we will need over the past years that we didn't have technology. But we still keep some number of people because we still have to have ideas.
Technology does not give you ideas. Human beings give you ideas.
As we gradually drift towards lower levels of employment for some categories of workers in the long term, combined with the lack of appropriate skills in other categories, some economists maintain technical unemployment will not happen as some new jobs will still be created.
Let's shift focus from technology to something more natural, something you can do with the hand. And while the world of painting has often been dominated by their men counterparts, but today some women are trying to change this trend. Well, it looks like that is the story of post-harvest technology and agricultural science graduate Anita Pearl Anko. Joy Business's Kuku Apia has more.
It's an era where many glass ceilings are being shattered by women across the world, delving into areas traditionally reserved for men. One young woman is contributing her quota to the advancement of women in society. She is CEO of Nita's Art, Anita Pearl Anko, popularly known in social media circles as the female painter. She's changing the perception that painting is a man's job, one beautiful brushstroke at a time. I spent the day with her to find out what made an agricultural scientist decide to go into painting.
During national service, I painted my apartment, and then someone saw it, liked it, I painted a person's apartment, and it went on and on. I started, I do pencil portraits and then the painting. So I started the pencil portraits while I was in school. So it was during level 400 I met a friend, and then I decided to do the painting too. But then I decided to take it very seriously after service.
Okay.
When I started this, it was actually a little difficult for me because it took a while for my mom to understand me. Yes, so then I'm doing this so that any lady or girl who is talented and wants to develop their talents will just go ahead and do it. Wow. I want them to know that it's a male tagged job, but then ladies can do it and do it very well too. Okay. One time I was painting at Santa Maria. It was wall art for road safety. Yeah, so I was doing it, and then this man walked to me. And he was staring, so I was wondering why he was looking at me like that. Then he said, "How hungry are you?" So I was like, "Huh?" And he said, "How hungry are you? You should stop this, I'll find you a job. This isn't fit for you to do." And I told him, this is what I want to do, that's why I'm doing it. Most Ghanaians think that way. That if you are doing an artisanal job like this, it means you are hungry or you are poor. But no, I'm actually doing this because I love it.
Already having a total of 6 people under apprenticeship, this painter has dreams of building an interior design empire.
My ladies are 6, including me 7. But I never really have all of them together because some of them are in school in Cape Coast and stuff like that. So it's only during the vacations that I have them. And motivation, anytime we're at work, they actually love being around me and doing what I help do what I do. Yeah, so it really motivates me. Yeah, and then
you're still watching Business Live. We want to update you now on some international news that might interest you. Ant Financial, the digital payments arm of e-commerce giant Alibaba, is buying US-based MoneyGram for $880 million. MoneyGram has about 350,000 outlets in nearly 200 countries, and Financial has more than 630 million users. And Financial has a big market share in the online payments industry in China. The acquisition could help the company extend the lead as well as expand overseas as competition is growing in China with rival Tencent's WeChat payment system. US-listed MoneyGram shares rose by nearly 9% on the news. The takeover has been approved by MoneyGram's board of directors. All right, now time to bring you our interview of the day, and some energy experts have expressed concern about what they say is a lack of due diligence by Parliament on some of the major power contracts signed by the previous administration. In a bid to address the power crisis in the last 3 years, the government entered into some arrangements which saw the deployment of emergency power plants like Car Power and a Mary plant, among others. But speaking with Joy Business, Executive Director of the Kumasi Institute of Technology and Environment, KITE, Ishmael Ejikum Hene, said this unduly cost the country more because many of the deals were not duly scrutinized.
Most of these issues were flagged, and think tanks and the then opposition raised red flags about so many of the deals. Mary, for example, if you consider the fact that the cost of owning those plants at the then rate was cheaper than the agreement we had entered into, there were all sorts of issues that were raised. The VRA senior staff, they are right up in arms against the board and the management because of what they perceive to be some unfair advantage that they were trying to give to the Mary people. There were a lot of issues. I, for example, never understood why we should contract an emergency power plant for 10 years. Okay. Car Power should have remained an emergency power plant. We needed the Car Power because it was the quickest that we could get under the circumstances. But why do you contract an emergency power plant for 10 years? If we had said, come in, help us deal with the crisis, afterwards we open it to open tender. Because with the same Car Power as a badge, I believe if you were to open it to tender, we could have gotten something that would probably have been cheaper. I also didn't understand why we would bring in a Mary, we didn't bring its fuel, and it was going to compete with gas from the Atwabu.
There were so many issues.
So many issues. But what I believe is that now they are in government, so it's no longer rumors. Investigate those deals. If there are any, the sad part is that most of these deals were actually passed by our parliament. So even if there were fraud, what were the parliamentarians there? What were they supposed to do? The moment they okayed it, it got the blessing of the nation to move ahead, whether we like it or not. In some cases, we might not be able to do anything at all, but just talk about them. Because if the contracts are such that you can't vary the terms to the disadvantage of any of the parties, you cannot do anything. You touch those contracts, they result in judgment debt.
A look on how the city is faring against other international trading currencies, as well as what's happening on the commodity market. Thanks for watching our program. Catch you next week. My name is Daryl Kwao.